Thank you, Jill. So let me ask you a few questions first. Please raise your hand in the participant function, and I will call on you to unmute and respond. As you went through this first part of the visioning event, what was the most surprising thing to you? Please raise your hand in the participant function. Mike. Unmute.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little, I guess I'm always shocked by the power of the vote in this, and about the fact that we tended to be more focused on similar answers than dissimilar answers.
Okay, so consensus was surprising to you.
Well, yes. I mean, it's not like I don't understand the concept of consensus, but every time it happens, it's always kind of a shock.
It was shocking. Okay, Bob?
Really the same thing. I was just surprised at how similar our answers were amongst the people that participated in the surveys, that we weren't that deviant from each other and everything. So.
Not that far apart.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Well, Sandy.
Well, in conversation with people over the past couple of years, I've said, we should be a bigger club. We should have 50 members. And then when it came down to me saying how many members we thought, I only said 45. And then hearing what other people said, it was like, okay, we really can do this. So I was inspired.
Okay, inspired by other people wanting even more than you did. What does this mean for your club then? Please raise your hand in the participant function. Mike.
Well, I think it gives us the nucleus of being able to move ahead here. I mean, the fact that we don't have this big divergent view of where the club should be going, that we're much closer than we thought we were, gives us the foundation to be able to move ahead.
Thanks. Evan?
Yeah, he just took the words out of me. I'm saying that we actually have a goal that we all agree on, and that we can strive to now. So I like that.
Jim?
Both of these have captured sort of what my thoughts were. We live in a community where the demographics would suggest that we should be larger, and I think recognizing that we have that opportunity is the first step, and it's been recognized before. I don't want to downplay that. There's been significant growth in the chapter over the past couple of years, but recognizing that we could do a lot more and focusing in on that, I think will be good for the outcome.
Thank you. Randy?
Thanks. It says to me that we have a lot of work to do moving forward. I think our club has moved over the past several years from being a pretty introverted club to being much more extroverted, and I think that's helped bring people in. But the dynamics are, the larger our club gets, the harder we're going to have to work to make sure that everybody stays engaged and involved. And some of the other things that we listed later on, point to that. But anyway, that's my initial impression.
Okay, Scott?
No, I had something outside of what Randy just said, but I would agree to that, because my first experience in Rotary was more of a, go to lunch, network, and then leave and not get involved. And it was easy to do that. So, but what I was going to mention is we got a lot of new members. We've done a great job increasing membership over the last couple of years. These are individuals who were not part of the first visioning process, me included. So I think, one of the values for our club is that for all the new members, including me, here's a new visioning document that we can work off of.
Bob?
Unmute, Bob.
Try that. Okay. I guess what I was thinking was that this is really going to help us continue our momentum from the last round of strategic planning we did 3 years ago. I mean, we got on a roll. I think those will help us keep that ball rolling down the highway here. So.
Okay, Jim?
I wanted to ask Bob or Greg or some of the old timers if they remember how many people were in the organization the first year or two, because it seemed like it was fairly large to me.
Yeah, Jim, we had 48.
48. Okay.
For about 2 weeks. And then it went down to like 30, like overnight. I think it was people just like, it was a big number. And then within a month, we got down to our core members right away and everything. So.
Okay.
But we were fledgling. We didn't know what we were doing, really. We were just feeling out as we went along. So
I recall some of that too, but I couldn't remember. It was around, we ended up around 38.
Yeah, pretty quickly. So yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Last question. What does this mean for your community? What do the results mean for your community? Please raise your hand in the participant function. Evan.
Well, I think if we do everything correctly, I think people in the community will know what the White River Rotary is and what we do. I think they won't have to ask us, or we won't have to tell them.
Jim.
I think I
Jim,
figured out I unmuted again. I think there's a lot of potential for us to have a greater impact on the community as we sharpen our focus here. And that in turn will allow the community to recognize us from a broader sense, and hopefully that will provide a platform to draw in additional members. For the first step to do that is making them aware that we exist and what we do, and this whole exercise, I think, sharpens the focus on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, David.
I think it also helps create a lot of synergy, possibly for other clubs in our area as well, because I do think when you see a variety of great things happening, I think others catch the vision, and I think it replicates itself.
Sandy.
If we really could accomplish the financial goal for Impact Day, I think that will have a big impact on the community, just to be able to get that much money out there into organizations that serve the community. Because I think in the next 3 years, I think there are going to be a lot of nonprofits that are going to need that funding. And so I think and then eventually, that's going to go out to the needy people in the community to provide a better way of life.
Okay, thank you all for your responses to those questions about your results. The next step is to start to take these ideas and to break them down into goals and then action plans to accomplish those goals. Remember our 5 planning questions that we talked about last night? We will now start to work on the 4th one. How will we get there? We will be working on that question with the master plan. To do that, we take the ideas that got the most votes and then turn those ideas into achievable goals. As we did the summary, you heard the top ideas which you need to organize in some way. We are suggesting that you create a master plan that lays out the goals you want to accomplish over the next 3 years. Some goals will cover more than 1 year. Some goals will be postponed until the 2nd or 3rd year. Let's look at what the master plan form looks like. In the upcoming weeks, you will have a group that will be working to make recommendations about what ideas from the visioning event tonight will be inserted into year 1, year 2, and year 3 of the master plan. These ideas will then be discussed when you share the results with your club. Wait to fill out who will lead on the master plan until a goal has been developed for each idea. Let's now look at how to create an achievable goal. Achievable goals mean that you define what you want to have happen in measurable terms. You see the first example in sending 2 students to RYLA in the year 2021-2022. This is a realistic goal which can be measured and has a timeline for its accomplishment. The next one is also realistic, is measurable, and has a timeline. And as you read them, so do the global grant and the fundraiser. All 4 of the goals are realistic, they're measurable, and they have a timeline. Later in our next steps section, we will explain that you will develop a process for how to create this master plan. After developing the master plan, we suggest you develop an action plan for each goal you created. The action plan will define the tasks that you must accomplish in order to achieve the goal. Then once all the tasks are generated, you predict your outcome. Predicting your outcome allows you to answer the 5th planning question, which is, how will we know when we've arrived? This is what the action plan looks like. It has the goal at the very top and then has a group of lines for all the tasks that need to be completed in order to achieve the goals. Additionally, it asks who needs to lead accomplishing that task. Who else will help with that task? Are there any resources required to accomplish that task? When will you start? When do you believe you will be done? And lastly, at the very bottom of the action plan, you predict what the outcome will be once the goal has been established and accomplished. The action plan asks you to define who will do what by when. It asks what tasks need to be accomplished. So in this case of the goal of sending 2 students to RYLA, the first what statement is to ask the board to approve the fee to send 2 students to RYLA and to appoint a RYLA chair. Who will do the task? Well, the youth services chair needs to do that task since RYLA is a youth program. When will the task need to be accomplished? Well, at the next board meeting on July 22nd, and be sure to specify the date. Will there be any resources needed for that task? Yes. You might need to check on the fee for RYLA and the youth protection policy, as the board might want to know those 2 pieces of information. As you see, it does not stop at one task. A goal might have 8 to 10 or more tasks before it is accomplished. So use one action plan form for each goal that you created on the master plan. At the bottom of the action plan form, there's a box that says outcome. Use that box to answer the last planning question, which is, how will we know when we have arrived? In this case, you might say the outcome is having 2 students who go to RYLA present at your club meeting. So predict your outcome. If circumstances change, change your predicted outcome. It's a flexible and fluid document.